Hi, it's me, Paula. This is Paula Live. Martin and I are back. Say hello, Martin.
Hi, everyone. Hi.
Oh, my goodness. I was so glad to have you on today and hear what else going on with you.
Thanks. What I'd like to jump straight into is basically just ripping on academia. What I'd like to do is I'm of the school of thought which is all about looking internally and not having to depend on these external things for any kind of gain in your life, basically. So what you've got is nowadays you've got a situation whereby you've got these academic institutions and they are full of books and they're full of very sense-based learning experiences, and sadly, I do believe in academia, and I do believe in learning, shall we say, but I don't believe in the way it's done nowadays. Basically, I don't believe in grading because I believe it's degrading. I don't believe that we should, at the end of a degree, put a black square on our heads. I'm just wondering, Paul, have you heard any theories about why people, when they finish a degree, they have to wear those silly black square hatted thingies?
No, but I'm interested to find out. I know they move the tassel from one side to the other.
Right. I'm not sure what the significance of that is, but I will have a look for you, because this is something that I'm definitely going to continue.
Yeah, because I just thought it was like, for one, if you haven't graduated yet, it went on one side, and if you have graduated, it went to the other side, and to me that was it.
Okay, well...
And when you talked about it, sitting there all dressed up, everybody was saying, what does it mean? Oh, that just means you graduated. So basically, not many people know.
Well, what I'm trying to put forward is that the black square above the head means that you're sort of indoctrinated into the darkness, shall we say, that you're fully sort of incapable of looking into your own internal light, and you're sort of trapped by the darkness of the physical realm. Do you see where I'm going with that?
Yes, makes me not like it so much anymore.
Yeah. Basically, you've got a situation whereby you've got a Masonic checkerboard of white and black. The white and black are their checkered squares, and they cover, the entire sort of chessboard of life, shall we say. So all those players that are on the black squares, they're in the dark, basically, and it's just another way of this control system sort of making a... I don't want to go as far as to say it's making a mockery. However, do you see where I'm going with this, Paula?
Yes, you've been indoctrinated, which is belittling.
Yeah.
Now you will follow. Now you've shown you can be taught, you can conform.
That's right, yeah. Whereas,
you're in this little club now.
Yeah. And so basically what I'm trying to say about academia is that there's a lot of there's a lot of good in learning, but you really need to use discernment and make sure that what you're learning is based upon something valid. And what I'm coming to realise recently is the work of Dr. Walter Russell is very, very valid. It's very, very important. I'll just give you an example. Let's see, I've got a picture here. This is an excerpt I found last night from Walter Russell's book on generoradiative... oh God, I can't remember the exact title of the book, but it's got generoradiative in the title. It's an explanation of radiation and science by Walter Russell, and I'll just give you an excerpt from one of the pages here. It says, "No mass in the universe can keep such a position when it finds no mass in the universe can find such a position when it finds it, for the impetus of its motion in getting there always carries it past that point. Also, the point referred to is moving in unison with all other similar equilibrium points. Now, that's really important, because not only did Walter Russell not get that from academia, not only did Walter Russell not get that from the external world, he got that all internally from mind-knowing and illuminations. But he's also hit upon something incredibly powerful there, which is that the point referring to is moving in unison with all other similar equilibrium points. Now, an equilibrium point is vastly important, and this is one of the sort of secrets that we're coming to find in this sort of new age of knowing, is that equilibrium points are points in which vast amounts of energy can find stillness, and say for example the equilibrium point between two galaxies moving in spiral movement, say towards each other, there will be an equilibrium point there, and that equilibrium point will be massive, and it's all moving in unison with all other similar equilibrium points. Yeah, I just wanted to touch on that point, really. I don't. What do you make of that, Paula?
I keep thinking of balance as well. I guess for the equilibrium point would be balanced in between.
Yeah, and this.
I don't know why that came to me. Honestly, it was just like.
No, that's life. That's what I'm coming to find, is that this is all about our balance, and this is our journey to experience this balance. Because within us, we've got a male and female opposing pole, and that's constantly being balanced. And then we've got all these other sentient beings with a male and female pole, that's all being balanced. And then we've got all these plants and animals and chemicals, and all of these things are trying to find the equilibrium point, and once they find it, they're at rest, and they're in a state of knowing, and they get this knowing from the Creator, and this is how everything in the universe learns. And to go against this fundamental principle, this is what academia does. So I'm just gonna stop there. I'm not gonna go on a rant anymore. That's me showing you that basically current academia, the way it's structured, is working entirely against nature, and that's why it will fail. That's why it is failing. I mean, that's why I'm working with the slugs on my allotment, and I'm not working against them, because I know that the more I'm in tune with nature, the better my equilibrium will be. Do you see what I mean, Paula?
Absolutely. I completely agree. And
the more equilibrium that I can create in the day-to-day interactions with the world, the more balanced and harmonious it will become through those small actions. And that's based. That's something that I can validate, and that's something that I can be happy living my life with. And that's really what I wanted to share for you and your listeners today. Yeah.
That's an amazing message. A very amazing message. One that needs to go out a lot. You can almost feel it in your center clock if you're going down the wrong path, or, I don't know. There's a place for each of us, and some of us are still kind of searching, and if it's too hard, does that mean you're going the wrong way? I don't know. What do you think?
I think if it's hard or easy, it doesn't really matter. They're both the same in different ways. I think when you're going the wrong way, because there'll probably be a big fire there.
have my pyromania under control now. Thank you. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. I really don't know.
No, but I'm just using that as an example, basically, because fire is a destructive force, and it's very necessary. However, I don't believe it's that necessary for the predicament that we're in right now. For example, there's lots of things dying on the planet. There's lots of destruction going on. Well, the last thing we need is to have more of that.
If we just could be responsible ourselves, each one, and then maybe one other person, we'd have it covered. No time. They're just people that want to destroy and gain and get more and more money. Don't get to know their kids. They're trying to keep their house right now because how the economy is here. People are working 2 or 3 jobs, both parents, and just trying to keep their place. Others just want more and more, and it's never enough. And those are the ones I feel the worst for. They think they're real successful and everything. They think, they've got it really good. They're driving to an early grave.
I believe that what they need, Paula, is a high vantage point. And basically, if you're if you're able to have a high vantage point, that means that you're able to take a perspective on how you look at your life, and you're able to use that perspective to make further decisions about the future. And the best way to get a high vantage point is to either study the ancient texts or study people who are capable of writing at the level of ancient texts, like people like Dr. Walter Russell. Dr. Russell,
Go ahead.
He was a super genius, and he was a cosmic illuminate. However, he never went around and said that he was cleverer than anyone else. He just created bodies, and these bodies were obviously books and houses and sculptures. And you can really trust someone who has bodies, because you can look at those bodies, and those bodies are a mirror of the people who created them, and that's how you can sort of garner trust. Yeah.
Oh, a lot of us, our bodies, we don't want people to look at and think that's I don't know, maybe that's a female thing. I'm in pretty good shape for my age, which I'm not going to tell you, but I definitely feel my age in my bones and things, but
I was talking about bodies as in things we create, like books and
Forget what I said.
No, it's cool.
Who's that? The comedian? Never mind. Oh yeah. Oh goodness. Are you thinking of creating some of your own writings?
Oh well, yeah. I wrote a book about my life about 4 years ago, and then I went to a sort of truth-telling festival in Wales that you would have loved, Paula. You'd have been right at home there. There was over 100 people. We were in Wales, a place where Merlin used to do magic, and it was a very synchronous meeting of sort of lots of very awake people went there to experience the energy and things. And I went there to talk about my book, and I told everyone about this book that I'd wrote, and I turned a full teepee of, say, 50 people. I got them all crying with laughter because of the...
Marvellous.
Because they thought my book was so funny. And I wasn't offended by the fact that everyone thought my book was funny. I appreciated the fact that everyone's reaction was to laugh. It wasn't written as a comedy piece. However, after that night, I kind of sat down to myself and I thought, wow, I've really got a gift here. If I can produce that, that feeling of happiness.
That's true.
Yeah, out of one of my bodies that I've created, a book, a body. I've also created other bodies like poetry, which is not so great. I've done lots of drawings, which are some good, some bad. But throughout all the sort of body of work that I've done, it's all been very intuition based, and it's all been based on kind of looking inward, as opposed to depending on, external sensory authorization for what I do.
True. Could you share with us a few things you found when you took a look inside? Did you change anything?
Yeah, it's funny. I have a problem with looking inside. Whenever I look inside, all I see is a very high frequency environment, and I can't seem to settle it somehow. So when that manifests onto the external realm, you get lots of shall we say, what's the word? Sort of an intuitive storm of ideas. That's how I'd describe my creative side. Just not really much thought going on, just kind of feeling things and working things out as they come to me. Sort of that's how I do my drawing as well. It's the style like that I do in my pen drawing and pencil drawing is very sketchy, and I make kind of forms out of lines that I create randomly, if you see what I mean. So that's one thing that I feel is that I brought back. I'm by nowhere near a super genius. Far from
I think everyone's a genius at something.
Yeah, I can go with that.
Do.
We're definitely
like they say, if you judge a fish on its ability to climb a tree, it will feel stupid.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly right. I can't agree with that more.
That's another reason why I agree with you on what you call the state education here. It's it's one category, one type of person does really well here, there, or the other place. You're penalized if that's not your area of mindset, and a lot of people have most of their traumatic experiences in those institutions.
Absolutely, it's awful. It's terrible how they just shut us down straight away, and lead us on a false path of guessing. Really.
True, but I've also I think they're probably I got to say one, no names, but at least one I know is like one of the largest sheeple I know as well. As a kid, we were around the same age, and she was always just book smart. She was hitting everything left and right. But as she grew into the real world, I'm not saying she's not exceptionally smart like she was. She just did not know how to. She's mostly a recluse now, I would expect her to be some top executive, the way she did with numbers, the way she picked up everything. But that balance wasn't there, Martin. It was all academia.
I'm gonna,
to where it turned her into this unusable robot.
I'm just going to repeat the words of Dr. Russell here, right? Dr. Walter Russell said, all knowledge can be gained without an academic facility, right? The best thing that ever happened to me that I was pulled out of school at the 4th grade and made to work at the family grocer, right? That's coming from a super genius, and that's valid,
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, I'd like to touch quickly on the divided sex spiraling waveforms, male and female, that course through our entire body every day. How do you interpret the male and female energies in your body, Paula?
It's funny you mention that, because I'm single momming it and I have done that before, not with three boys, but I have to pull on the masculine. I have to pull from the masculine. I gotta, do the yard. I can't be all girly at this point. Dirt flying everywhere, sweat and all, and so I have to pull a masculine and a feminine out of me like cards. Which one do I use in this moment, Very much believe that we all have those qualities and all have those traits. I said on a radio show right before I played a Boston song, a man I'll never be. It was a really hard day. I'm trying to do a lot of man things, and there's jars I can't open. I'm just not strong enough. But there's ways of doing that too, and I think we all pull from both of our sexes. Like you said, that's within us all, constantly, day in and day out.
Yeah, brilliant. That's great. And my hat goes off to you. It must be tough being a single mom.
Well, it is, but and I think it's harder. I think it may be easier for women. We're inherently seem to be open creatures, but men have been pushed so hard to not have any feminine traits. Some have it really hard to admit it. I see it in different men. I've seen it come out at different times and all, but to point it out would be make them feel as if they were being ridiculed. It wouldn't be a good thing no matter how I put it. So I usually don't say anything, but I do see it in men as well.
Great. Are you familiar with someone called John Chang, Paula?
No, I'm not actually.
Right, I'm just going to blow my nose. Hold on a sec.
I was just going to mute your mic.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I guess you share that with us. No, I feel bad for you there.
Yeah, sorry about that. Right, what I was going to say. Yeah. Oh, I've lost myself completely now.
The male and the female in us.
Yeah. And, John Chang, that was it. So there's this chap, I came upon him, he's called John Chang. He can use something called Qigong, which is an ancient meditative technique, and he can contact the spirit realm, right? Now, he says he's able to sort of sense the male and female within him, the yin and the yang energy. He's then able to manipulate this energy. I believe it's the yin energy. He says that through this he's able to contact the spirit world. He's then able to move objects telekinetically. He's able to set fire to newspaper with his hands. He's able to electrocute people with his hands. And
wow.
Yeah, very fascinating man. A very fascinating man that people know very little about. But again, all this power that he's developed, he's not got that from an academic institution. He's got that through internal knowledge. He's got that through looking from within. And there's some really great videos of that guy online doing what he does. But he came out into the public arena and then demonstrated what he did. He then cut the he did a little demonstration, he was going to push a piece of wood for a table. It then split, hit a woman in the face, she drew blood. That night his mentor came to see him in a dream and said, look, what you've done is completely out of order, you need to stop what you're doing right now, and basically just forget about it, mate, you've messed up here. So
wow.
So he never got to share with the world, how he did his tricks. But like I say, he doesn't really need to show anyone, because everyone's got the potentiality to look inside themselves and find that knowledge. It's just whether you're being lawful enough for that knowledge to, really work.
And that makes me think of, like, a mother lifting a huge car off her child or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where does that ability come from? Was it pure? Her love was pure. Did that help?
That absolutely helped. It was lawful, and in this universe, when you want to do these sort of energy works, it's got to be lawful. If you're gonna have God on your side, He wants to know that it's going to be a lawful thing. So that,
yeah, you don't need to just tap in just because you want to turn over a car because it's funny.
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Thank goodness you don't know how to use that all the time, just because there's too many out there that would just do stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, if people were around there doing that kind of stuff, the law of nature would be such that those people would pretty quickly be sorted out. Do you see how the law of nature works? Like, you can't escape it. you can't work against it. You can try and keep the tide from coming in all you like. You could spend thousands of years developing the most high technology to make sure that tide does not come in again. But I'm telling you, once it gets the force behind it, that tide is going to come. Do you know what I mean? And it's going to come big. So
absolutely.
So hopefully the tide is turning now. This ridiculous power structure dam that these few little elite have set up on the planet. Hopefully this sort of tidal wave of truth and love is just going to crash down on them any day now.
Just pull the walls down. It's coming.
It's coming.
And at the end of it, there's going to be such a wonderful place to be.
That's right, yeah.
We all believe that on the other side of what is coming is so much better.
Absolutely. We've got a very bright future ahead of us, and we need to be really proud of the fact that we've got such a beautiful world to inherit once all these problems are over. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
very true, to make sure we keep care of it.
Yeah, I'd like to touch quickly on on the subject of enjoying yourself.
Yes, I am, actually.
Yeah, I like the idea that that we were put on this planet. One of our ways of being a steward on this planet is to enjoy ourselves, and that I find it challenging in my day-to-day life to kind of enjoy myself, because like I want to drink alcohol, and I want to smoke cannabis, and I want to seemingly do these negative things to my body, but I really enjoy it, and I believe that if I can do that, and I can do it with a natural equilibrium towards my environment, that I shouldn't really feel guilty about it. Do you see where I'm coming from, Paula?
Yeah, it comes back from that balance again. Too much of anything pulls the balance in the wrong way. Sometimes, when things get heavy, I'll just, if there's a thunderstorm, I'm enjoying it here. Sometimes I like to just, since I'm close to the ocean, just pull up and just watch it. And I get so much enjoyment out of that. So much peace. Have the windshield wipers on in the car, and I'm just getting a glimpse of this foam spraying everywhere, and the magnificence of this planet and the forces behind it, and feel a part of that.
The line's getting a bit the line's getting a bit weak, Paul. I'm wondering, is that my internet or is it yours?
You're coming over pretty clear, so it must be mine. Should we put a song on, hang up, and try to reconnect?
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea.
Welcome back. This is Paula Live, and I'm talking to Martin Obodo. Hi, Martin.
Hi, Paula.
We were just talking about the balances of things, and you had mentioned for having a good time, and I think surrounding yourself with people that care about you and make you feel good is also a very important part of that balance.
Yeah, that's right. Because
it's great that you touch on that, because a few months ago I went to Total for about 6 weeks, and then I ended up getting back into smoking and drinking. My ex-girlfriend at the time, she said, I think you're taking a step forward. and I was like, well, yeah, maybe that's the case, because now I'm able to comfortably enjoy my poisons without feeling any guilt, and it feels natural, so I'm going to go with it, you know. So
yeah,
make that comment.
I see a lot of families with their home lives, and I know they love each other, and they want to do the oh goodness, I'm getting a Skype message. I'm on air now in a few. Okay. So I was like, can you send me? I'm like, not right this second. And what was I talking about before I... There goes that train.
We were talking about having fun.
Yes, absolutely. You know, if you... Oh, and the people, there was families, and they see their kids or their teenagers just a few times, and they want to use that time to, like, hammer stuff in their head and tell them what they're doing that's wrong and stuff. And you got to also tell them what they're doing that's right, too. Don't just do the wrong, because you're pushing these guys out of your home, and to find another place to just feel they can relax and be their self and have a loving vibe. If it's pointing this out, push, it's not going to have the effect that you want. And it's a lot easier to stand back and watch someone else than it is to work on your own. But it helps you sometimes when you see other people and you think, God, do I do that? God, I hope I'm not like that, you know? Got to make a point not to do that. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. How do you
find disciplining your kids, Paula? Is that a problem for you?
Not really. I don't believe in corporal punishment. I don't believe in hitting. I've felt like it, you know. I think every parent has felt like just going whack and getting it over with. But I didn't have but one child up until he was 18 before I adopted the other two, and he was such a good kid. Now I could beat him in the head. No, I'm kidding. But I have one that'll be 14 years old soon, you know, entering the teens, so I have to be really careful what I jinx myself to say, but he takes no as no. He doesn't beg. He doesn't, you know, we have a respectful relationship, and I think it's just a lot of it could be the youngest that's severely autistic and shows us what really, really, really is an important thing, because so many things go wrong with the youngest one. You've got to be like, do I care that the sofa has 3 legs on it, or do I care that we are all here healthy, happy, safe, you know?
Yeah.
You have to, you've really pushed and tried with the autism. Had a bruised jaw for a couple of weeks where I walked into an elbow during a meltdown, you know, it just bam, big black bruise. I looked like I had an abusive husband or something walking around with my sunglasses on. But and I even admitted the first thing I wanted to do was shove or be physical myself, but I had to just pull this veil of it's all right, everything's going to be okay, and pull that out to try to calm down these meltdowns. And anyone with autism knows if someone's in a full meltdown, they're out of control as it is. You going out of control is just going to mess up the whole situation.
I can imagine.
I have had to do things like take privileges away, but I mostly I like to hear that my kids are challenging themselves, doing their own research on things that has nothing to do with academia or stuff like that. And I'm really, really, and I think we all do, trying to be a good mom in that way. I think each generation can see where the other one went wrong, rather than saying, well, here comes one now. Rather than doing that myself, I'm going to be different. I saw people like that growing up. This one cousin's, their dad was so mean. Everybody just hated this man. And I thought, and they even talked about it and would say, I'm not going to be like that. And they grew up just like him. Just like him. I wonder where that got dropped. All the bad things. I'm going to mute here. Go ahead and answer me. Hi, Jordan.
Yeah, it sounds like you're
definitely done at home. I'm being loved on.
Yeah. You come from a farming background, is that right, Paula? Were both your parents farmers? What was the deal there?
Yes, my mother's father was sharecropper, and my father's father did several things because they both came up in the Depression. And my father, when my parents were first married, they ended up doing what was called owning up on a farm. They saw my dad's utilitarian garden for home. Some bank guy said, there's some property here. If you can prove you can farm it and make a profit in 4 years, you can buy it. I think it was something like $400 an acre back then, which they did. So I grew up as a farmhand from early on. Not to the extent that I was raised, but these boys have chores here too, even if I have to make some up.
Have you still got horses, Paula?
No, but we do ride from time to time in a stable nearby.
That's fantastic.
I hope to have on my own one day, but what's really cool about the stables, there's just so many, and I can experience so many different animals there. Don't have the same one. But that's good too, in a sense. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd love to go out on a horse ride with you when we meet in Ireland next year. If that ever happens, that'd be awesome.
We got to make that happen. That would be so cool.
It would.
And Steve knows someone with horses too. I met him while I was there.
Fantastic. It's a date.
It's a date.
Yeah.
They'll probably, I hope they have a lot of horses. I know there's several that would want to follow us off and do that.
Yeah, that's one of my new hobbies that I'm really, really wanting to encourage myself to get into the next few months, and that's practicing horse riding and getting some horse riding lessons. Because I've never been drawn towards the motor vehicle, and I'm a city slicker all my life, so I've never really needed a car. Always been happy getting around on the bus, but I would love a horse as a mode of transport.
I tell you, it's the best growing up on the farm when you have the horses, because, well, my local school had 20 acres of agricultural department, so I rode the horse and left the gate barely latched so he could get out, and I'd be called to go after him and never come back to school. But anyway, a little thing me and the horse had going on for a while. But, and then just going to your friend's house and they saddle up, and the next friend and they saddle up, and then there's 15, 20 of you just out having a blast. Got the cooler strapped on this side, you got your boom box on the other side for some music, and just, you could go anywhere and do anything. It's a freedom. It feels so free to be up there.
Yeah, and I can imagine on so many levels, it's just much nicer to experience. the view with a horse as a companion.
Exactly. You see what's along the way for sure.
Yeah, it's just a more beautiful interaction with nature. I mean, it just goes without saying that if you swapped all the car owners for horse owners overnight, if everyone woke up and there was a horse instead of their car, can you imagine how great that would be?
I'd love it. That would be so awesome.
Yeah.
Where we do ride halfway, it's so hot in Florida, halfway through the trail there's this river, and we'll swim them through. That is the most killer feeling on this paddling horse going across this river. It's just, wow. Talk about back to nature.
Yeah, so that's hopefully where we're going, Paula. We're hopefully, moving towards a society where people understand that these are not just hippie concepts. These are fundamental laws of how why we're here on this planet. Basically, these are fundamental rules to make sure that the experience that we have is the best that we can get, and the best that we're going to get out of it is a really tight relationship to all the other living things around us. And I'd like to briefly just touch on what I was talking to you about a few months ago about elementals. And
oh, please.
Yeah, so some things that I had an experience about 6 months ago where I saw what I could define as an air elemental. I saw it in the clouds. It looked at me. It wasn't happy. It really wasn't happy. It was expressing, wow. Well, basically, after looking at the thing, it filled me with intense fear and intense sort of. I guess looking back on it now, it's more of a feeling of just shame, really. It's like, well, imagine walking through a field and seeing a bull, right? And you look at that bull, and that bull looks the most angry bull you've ever seen in your life, and it looks like he wants to. Really,
oh yeah.
Yeah,
I know that feeling. He wants to run you through.
Yeah, he wants to really make a run for you. So that's basically the look that I got off this elemental, and it's really affected me because, I mean, on many levels, it's like, one, why me? Two, how was I able to get onto the frequency to allow me to interact with this entity that's probably been around for
my god,
I don't know. These things are old. These things are ancient, and they're here.
It's so funny because I knew about elementals. I didn't know the name was elementals, but just different fairy tales and things, just touch on certain things, I believe, which would be classified as elementals. And then you introduced me to them, gave me some stuff to read. I read some other things, and I went to this really remote place for this concert. I like to promote different artists and things. I love to be out there and listen to them and pull them for the shows and stuff. And we're camping, and I have some issues with my legs, and I was getting tired of filming, and I had backed up against this one beautiful tree which just almost wrapped around me, and it was very comfortable. I ended up finishing the night, and as I walked away, I kind of looked back, and I saw an elemental. I couldn't talk to you soon enough, but I saw the tree in like almost an half its size, like it was missing the top and just some bottom branches, and then there was an expression. There was what you would call a facial expression. I'm not going to say like the people put the eyes, nose, and mouth, but it's really hard to explain, but I was like, oh, wow, and I think it was maybe a month after that, I finally got a hold of you, and I was able to say, oh my God, I saw one.
Yeah. I mean, you can't, you wouldn't be able to describe to someone the moment, obviously, that you encountered there, because I know I have a hard time explaining it to people. But
that's why I wanted to talk to you, because I thought he's going to get this.
I think that these elementals are here at this time to guide us and to show us, to show us, that we're really close. We're really close to a lot of living things at the moment, and we're really not paying attention to them at all. And that they're really doing their best to kind of just go, hey, I'm sharing this space with you. Watch what you think, watch what you say, watch what you do, because you can't see me, but I'm here, and there's a lot of things going on right now that you can't see, but they're very relevant to how you're interacting with the world. So
absolutely, like a matrix type of web. There's so much going on, and there's so much that the human eye does not see. That's
right, yeah, masses, and we really need to get a little, blast of humility, and appreciate that we're sharing this space with a lot of other living entities that we can't see, but they're there. We really need to respect them, and the more respect that we have, the more we'll be able to perceive these things. But until we're in the rhythm of nature, nature's just not going to want to know, and we're not going to get these beautiful encounters half as often as we should.
That's so true. There's so much that goes on with the balance. You have your inner balance, and in what you do in your life, you have the balance of how you treat things. Then you have the balance of work and play, of male and female, of history and today.
Absolutely.
There's so many different ways of achieving a balance.
That's
and if
right.
one area is off, maybe it's just the way you treat the world. It's going to throw everything else into a kilter.
Yeah, that's right. I'm just gonna finish off by saying that Dr. Walter Russell has a lot of information right there, right for the choosing, and I'm gonna, fingers crossed, I'm gonna have enough money to pay for the home study course. So I really want to fund the University of Science and Philosophy at Swannanoa over there with you guys in the US, because I believe that university is going to be one of the pivotal universities in coming away from this academic model of manipulating people into these guest-based never-ending nightmares, basically. What can I say? Dr. Walter Russell. His works are based, and his works are numerous. Judge the man on his bodies, not on not as himself being a man. Look at the things that he created, and he'll don't get a messiah complex for the guy. That's one of the things that I'd like to touch on.
Yeah.
Is that you can look at these figures. I mean, I can put Dr. Walter Russell up there with Jesus, and with Gandhi, and with a lot of these other great minds, because these people are known as luminaries, and that there's a tendency to look at these people and give them a messiah complex and think, oh well, in time everything will be okay because these people are around, and time is a healer, and eventually everyone will pick up a book and read it. But that's simply not the case. We can't just sit around and wait for things to happen, basically. We really need to make things happen.
Absolutely.
Do them in the right way. Can't get over enough. I'm just gonna repeat that quote I got from that Genero Radiative book last night, and that's: no mass in the universe can keep such a position when it finds it for the impetus of its motion in getting there, always carries it past that point. Also, the point referred to is moving in unison with all other similar equilibrium points. And the great thing about Dr. Walter Russell is all this scientific work, it's so simple. Honestly, he's taking the most high-end stuff and he's making it so simple that for, you know, even the people who can read the basic of English can you know, really interpret a lot of things, because a lot of the bodies that Walter Russell's created aren't just words explaining concepts. They're also diagrams and pictures, and he was a fantastic artist. And that's that's one of the reasons he's so easy to learn from, is because a lot of his pictures are very simple. And like you were saying earlier about the spirals and the swirls on the cave paintings, Paula, these spiral and swirled shaped forms is the natural movement of the universe. This is something that someone's observed, probably in the clear night sky thousands of years ago. They've looked up, they've seen a giant swirl in the sky, because obviously they could see the sky a hell of a lot better than we can nowadays with our lights.
Oh my gosh, plus they're at this they're like at the top of the world where they are.
Yeah.
So they could see it turning.
So they can see the big turning, swirling loveliness. They put it on the cave painting, and what that is basically observing nature, using nature as teacher, and that is so critical. That is so critical, because I'm bashing academia, because you can't get the lessons in a classroom that you can out on the night sky staring into infinity. You can't. You simply cannot grade that. You cannot go up to a Mayan elder and say, wow, you really, really looked at the night sky really well tonight. I'm going to give you an A star, mate. Because that Mayan elder's just going to turn around to you and just go, what?
You're going to grade him, right?
You're going to grade me? Yeah, you know, you can see how ridiculous that is now. Like, how crazy. It
is. It really is.
It's so crazy. Because just by observing the stars, you learn so much. You learn vast swathes of knowledge just by observing. And you can do that for like 10 minutes. And just by observing a stream. I'll tell you a good example. I went down to a gypsy site the other day. Friends of mine are the gypsies, not here in Sheffield. And I says to this guy, we were talking about observing nature, and he was telling me about his dog going for a walk and observing the wily fox while he was on his walk, watching his dog, that his dog didn't see, but he saw, and also slugs, observing the sort of slimy trail that they have in the garden, and that if you actually like observe closely, like over the span of like 48 hours, you'll see that slime isn't just a piece of slime. It's a roadway that the slug makes from its base to the plant, so it can use this like super highway of slime to get to the plant without using up more energy to create the same slime to get to the same plant. See what I mean?
Yeah, and an easier slime on the way back.
Yeah, that's right, and that's from observing nature. That's something that someone's learnt from observed nature. To do that, they didn't need a school, they didn't need a college, they didn't need a qualification. They just sat down and stared at a slug for a while, and they learned something incredible. And nature as teacher, you can't beat it. And the more we fight against learning like that, the more, when the tidal wave hits, it's gonna be a bigger splash.
Yeah, it's gonna be more beneficial the more of us that know these things.
Yeah, there's so much to be learned from nature. It's wonderful. So yeah, I mean, when we meet, Paula, in the future, that I'm so hoping that there will be a point in the future where we can all meet in Ireland as mindful, awakened beings. We can join together. We can meditate and sit around and talk about nature and talk about the lessons that we learn from it, and gain the wisdom of the assembly, which is really important, actually, to have an assembly of minds that you respect and know are valid. Because I have a lot of peers that I can go and get acknowledgement from, and I do respect a lot of my peers, but I feel as though a lot of my peers aren't really paying attention to nature as they should. And the fact that I live in a life where I feel restricted on going and talking to my elders, that's really against nature. That's really crying out to me.
That should be the easiest thing to do, be able to.
Absolutely.
To partake from their wisdom.
That's right. But now I can only go and see my granddad. He's very segregated from his other people who are around the same age. So there's no counsel there. There's just, isolated, sentient minds.
Sounds so lonely.
Yeah, and we've really got to really work hard on making sure that there is wise counsels that people can experience, if even not to have at their disposal in their day-to-day, just the fact that they've experienced that wisdom and a counsel would mean a lot to that person. I know it means a hell of a lot to me whenever it comes about. And if we can create those kind of environments for our young children that we've got around, then...
Well, there's plenty of people in nursing homes too. Adopt a grandparent. Go visit somebody, and you will be amazed the stories and the wisdom that you'll hear.
Yeah, I should take it upon myself actually to go down to the local old people's home, because my grandma died in the old people's home about a year ago, and yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people in there just like my grandma who are very loving, and they've got a lot to give, and they're not as appreciated as much as they could do. So taking your time out just to spend even a little bit of time with people like that, I think would be lovely.
Yeah, we need many, and I guess I might have known or never thought about it until my husband was a nurse for 21 years, and he mostly worked with geriatrics and in these nursing homes. And people are not meant to be forgotten. They have their jobs, their kids, all their clubs, their friends, their meeting, and then they're gone. All that information is gone. All the questions you didn't ask them is gone. And if you don't have one living, someone has one that they're not using and would probably love a visit. I would visit certain ones, take the baby up. Oh my gosh, they love the baby. They passed the baby around, and they ended up, these people don't have much of anything, but they were making toys and clothes and wanting the baby to be brought back. And at the time, it was when my 13-year-old was between 1 and 2. My husband could just take him in the carrier to work and him be there all day. It was that type of a job at that time. That changed later, but they're lonely, and they've got some really wise things to tell you about. They got some information to share.
I'll share you something from my granddad, Paula.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I had a beautiful moment with my grandfather the other day. I was in the co-op. I was buying a pint of lactose-free milk and a bunch of bananas. I went up to the counter. I tried to pay for them on my debit card. The card was declined at the cash checkout, and I said to the lady, "Oh, that's a shame. I must have no money on my card anymore." And I walked out the store, and 2 seconds down the road saw my granddad. And I said, "All right, Grandad, how you doing?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm having a nice day, just going out for a walk." And then he was asking me a few questions, and he was saying, "Look, Martin, I know you've not been happy recently, but what will be will be. Whatever happens in life, it's the will of God. don't have too much of a bad feeling about it." And he gave me some money, and I went back to the shop and I bought my milk and I bought my bananas, and yeah, just thanks, Grandad. That's what I'm trying to say. Well,
think of that. How he came along right at that time.
Right at that. Just right when I needed him. Just right. Really did. I needed it. He cheered me up for the whole day. That happening. I think. Yeah, I heard also at a meeting a while ago. It's a good idea to spend a little bit of time each week with someone over 70 and someone under 7, and that's a really good way of having a healthy human.
That makes a lot of sense.
yeah, it does. Just just so you got that balance right. See, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Guarantee you, it will be a rewarding experience.
Yeah, definitely. How long have we put it that way? Just want to say a few things, like through the counsel of the multitude comes wisdom. So yeah, let's do it. Let's create counsels of the multitude. Let's not spend all our time externally guessing. Let's move on to a state where we're comfortable knowing, how great we are and how we can use that to extend balance. One more point I'd just quickly like to make before anyone goes out there and tries to, should we say, think of a new thing to learn, and you sort of find it difficult. You want to look at the operating system that you're running internally, and basing that operating system on nature is the best operating system that's going to come about.
Manufactured enough, he couldn't,
because
their own backward.
Nature's your best friend, when you're working with it.
Something else.
You're going to succeed. Just a slight example of that. If you have a plug hole and you're running water, and your water's running down your plug hole in a clockwise direction, that would say to you, right, water on my side of the planet runs down in this direction, right? So if you stir your water in that direction, when you're on that side of the planet, you'll be working with nature. And when you're working with nature, you're flowing better, your energy's better. So what I'm trying to say to you is, work with what you've got, be gentle on yourself, and just pay attention.
Awesome. And I think that's about all the time we have. Thank you for listening to Paula Live. Come back. Can't wait to hear you. And, oh, great. I guess me and my son were over on air just now. Hopefully we can edit that out. But that's all for tonight, folks. We'll see you later. Thanks for listening.